So if you needed any indication as to how open the wounds are still from the round 3 battle against the Colorado Avalanche, look no further than the December 15th game against the St. Louis Blues in 2022 for the Edmonton Oilers, and post-game comments from Connor McDavid following his and Leon Draisaitl's hookup for the overtime winner being called back due to an offside call at the blue line. Connor McDavid carrying it over the Blues blue line and on rushing towards the net, eventually getting it over to Leon Draisaitl for the overtime winner. Folks, this is Dolynny TV. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel as we set up Connor McDavid calling out the NHL for clarity on NHL rules that clearly we don't feel, well, Connor McDavid in particular, don't need clarity on because they should already be clear cut. Before we get into that though, if you're new to the channel, what I'd like you to do is consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. Why? Because I'm just shy of 10,000 subscribers, moving towards it at an incredible clip. Now after the last night's video clipping awards, less than 450 subscribers to go before the big 10,000. And secondary to that, I'll flash another graphic for you. If you enjoyed tonight's topic, leave a like on the video. I'd love to have you along for the journey. And of course, you can let me know how you like tonight's video simply by a thumbs up or thumbs down on this evening's video. Alright, friends, Connor McDavid's comments post-game simply, there's a lot to be made of these, and quite honestly, the problem for Connor McDavid is he goes out there and tells the NHL straight up, we got burned on a call like that in the playoffs. The league's got to clarify some of these rules. Depends on the night, pretty much, for Connor McDavid. That's essentially what his interview there, when asked about what he thought about the overtime goal getting called back, that's his thoughts in a nutshell when it comes to the NHL and their offside rules and some other rules, right? He mentions that the Calgary skate incident, that's a rule that burned him. Like, he's actually upset about that. Despite it going in the Oilers' favor, Connor McDavid is still upset with how the NHL handles the rules game in, game out when it comes to ticky-tacky situations within an NHL hockey game. And obviously tonight, right, in the offside overtime winner, is simply put, that's something he said he knows from years previous that you can do, and then all of a sudden Cale Makar does it in the playoffs in round 3 when all the chips are on the table to go to the Stanley Cup final, and it's onside. But when the Oilers have a chance to win a game that they've already shot themselves in the foot 3 times over prior to getting to overtime, well, guess what? They end up getting there with a chance to win it, and the NHL says, no, not so fast. I don't think that counts this time, and essentially leaving Connor McDavid to question what is and what is not a goal on an offside at the blue line, and what is not an offside at the blue line at the NHL level. Is there different rules applied in the playoffs? Is there different rules applied in the regular season? Or can Toronto just not get it right? Now, mercy me here, and I'm gonna upset a lot of fans that aren't watching from a pure Oilers perspective, but leave it to Toronto to screw things up for Edmonton game in, game out. Hey, you know what? That's just my opinion. Threw it in there for you. Need something for people to yell at me in the comments section about. There you have it. Go to town, folks. But right, for the Edmonton Oilers, it's one of those things where no matter how you cut it, it seems like at the end of the day, there's always something slanted, and that's always the best part about being in sports, is when you're a fan of your team's always getting slanted, the other teams always get the benefit of the doubt, and you're always getting screwed. That's what I'm going to say here on this one, is just because it feels like we got screwed, just because we did get screwed, or just because we might get screwed, whatever the case might be in, night out, is simply put for the Oilers, is we're going to feel we got screwed. No matter what it actually is, but we got screwed. That's the feeling. So for Connor McDavid, he's sitting here upset post-game following a loss in a shootout where he had the game won in overtime after stepping across the Blues blue line and feeding it over to Leon Draisaitl, who tucked it far side on Jordan Binnington, who was sprawled out in the Blues crease after it hit him in a weird spot. So fair enough, right? Like, I think that's the part here where you have to really tame in the comments, is I don't think Connor McDavid's necessarily meaning to call out the NHL and mean to crack down on clarity and it's got to change right here, right now. No, I don't think that's what Connor McDavid's trying to do with these comments. I think he's just simply very frustrated with the fact that when it mattered most to him, the NHL called a ticky-tacky rule and gave it to Colorado. And then when it mattered most to him again, the NHL called it against him a second time. Right? Is burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. And unfortunately, this isn't a situation where Connor McDavid did something stupid to cost goal. It's where Connor McDavid did things right? He's protecting the puck at the blue line, crossing into the offensive zone, trying to create a scoring chance, and he gets screwed again in his feelings, right? I mean, I'm not trying to speak for Connor McDavid here by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of those things, my friends, where simply put for the Oilers is, yes, okay, if you are sitting here and looking at it from a pure Edmonton Oilers team captain perspective, what else is he supposed to say? That's what I think it comes down to. What else is he supposed to say in this instance when the Oilers are trying to win as many regular season games as they can, finish with home ice in the playoffs, win the division maybe if Vegas falls off, and this is the kind of calls going against you in a game where you had it won 10 minutes left in the third period and you lose in a shootout without scoring a goal in the shootout after you won the game in overtime, but the goal was offside, right? I think that's where Connor McDavid really, these comments stem from, and calling out the NHL is just, like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter, but when it matters and completely impacts the outcome of a game, and it turned a game on the dime before against us, why are we seeing inconsistencies in the way it's handled? And obviously, you've seen the entire breakdown on Twitter, or if you haven't, go to Twitter and look up ESPN NHL Ref and look at the breakdown there from, I believe it's Dave Jackson who runs that account, and look at the complete breakdown of this Connor McDavid thing. They are slowing it down frame by frame to get this one right, and I'm sorry, this is taking apart the integrity of the human element of the game simply by doing that. However, the problem is with that, yes, technically speaking, they got the call right, but it doesn't mean that Connor McDavid shouldn't be any less frustrated with the call, right? Both calls, Cale Makar is apparently right, and this one apparently right too, but it doesn't mean that you should be any less frustrated when both times, despite both calls getting called right, you get screwed both ways by in terms of being Connor McDavid. So that's the frustrating part here, and I think that's more or less what it is just make it clear cut. Don't make it where we have to slow it down to a 30th of a second to make it happen, right? That's kind of the idea here from Connor McDavid, is don't slow it down so silly that we have to figure out frame by frame, yes, it's onside, yes, it's offside. Just make it a bit more clear cut. Make it as clear cut as you possibly can. Clearly, it wasn't a very long review, so yes, it was offside, but that also indicates to me if it was that clear cut, it was offside, yet the eye test says it was onside, there's some problems when it's talking about that. Anyway, my computer battery's low. I gotta go. I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am up on Oda here.